Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend to stop handing me clothes in stores? My girlfriend constantly gives me her scarves, gloves, glasses, jackets, sweaters, to put in my backpack no matter where we are. We were in an expensive clothing store today and she got too hot and gave me her scarf. I told her after this to stop doing so because it looks bad. She told my reaction was strange and told me we're going home. Then she took the dog back out without speaking to me. I tried being polite but she flipped out. I have dark features and she has blonde hair and blue eyes. I just don't want to be profiled or even suspected. I got raised by my family to carry my receipt to where it is always visible, and to always keep your hands out in plain sight. I'm from America and half native, she's from New Zealand and European. I don't know if my behavior is genuinely strange or not.
Not the asshole. She's perfectly capable of carrying her own belongings. Especially if she isn't dressing appropriately for the temperature.
NTA. She has the privilege of not understanding how it feels to be profiled everywhere she goes. It sounds like she's belittling your experience even though it makes you genuinely uncomfortable.
Not the asshole. Not only is she being rude, but she's completely ignoring the fact that her behavior could put you at serious risk.
Not the asshole. She can carry her own things. I'm a middle-class white woman that hasn't bought new clothes in a decade and even I get nervous about putting a jacket in my bag when I'm at a clothes store.
Nah, she doesn't seem to understand your reasoning behind why you think it looks bad, and it's possibly a cultural difference leading to misunderstanding between the two of you. Having a good conversation at a different time instead of in the moment might fix that. If she doesn't listen to you about your experience and why it makes you uncomfortable when she hands you stuff to put in your bag, then NTA. Not the asshole. I am white and from NZ. She most likely does not understand why you are saying this and you need to explain it to her. I would also suggest you also show her the many examples online of what you are explaining. I have only recently started to understand with help from the details posted online because I never experienced it before. This is a good one. The site also has a few others. boardpanda.com/racist-things-white-woman-married-black-man-by-racial-pamela-chandler/question mark UTM _source=google and UTM _medium=organic and UTM _campaign=organic boardpanda.com/racist-things-white-woman-married-black-man-by-racial-pamela-chandler/question mark UTM _source=google and UTM _medium=organic and UTM _campaign=organic closing parenthesis.
Info. So where did this happen, in America or Europe? All in all, my guess is nah. My husband often carries my jacket etc. in his backpack. As I often carry his wallet or electronics in my handbag if he doesn't have pocket space. It makes life easier for both of us. I understand your concerns, but if you did not explain them, just told GTFO, I would be confused and hurt too. If you did explain it, and she still flipped out on you, then she is tar.
Not the asshole. If she brings it into a store, it's her responsibility to hold on to it.
Not the asshole. If you're uncomfortable carrying her belongings, no matter the reason, she needs to respect that.
Nah. Your reason for not wanting to carry her clothing makes sense, she just probably didn't even think about it. Explain it to her the way you did just now.
Not the asshole. I would not be comfortable with the risk of looking like a shoplifter. If I have no choice but to carry a bag or backpack into a store with me, then I don't open it for any reason whatsoever because of how suspicious it would look. And I'm saying that as a middle-aged white guy in small-town America with no risk of being profiled.
Not the asshole. This screams, I just want a bite, not the whole thing, type of behavior. It's annoyingly as hell.
Not the asshole. This arrangement only works if it works for both of you.
Not the asshole. It's perfectly normal to not want to be someone else's packing mule.
Have you explained in depth to her why it looks bad? I'm a white American and had no clue what you meant by that until the next paragraph when you mentioned being profiled as a thief. I'd assume you meant it looks bad in some toxic, macho bro can't be caught being nice to his woman way. There's a chance your girlfriend literally has never considered your concerns, and she won't understand until somebody explains. If you have already explained your fears and she's still upset, then not the asshole.
Not the asshole. I'm from NZ as well, and I think we struggle to understand that consequences are higher for people in other countries. All this stuff that's come out with the Black Lives Matter movement etc. is pretty mind-blowing to us. Like, we've got gangs and a few guns etc., but you don't normally see it or feel in danger. The first time I ever saw a gun was when I went to the USA as an adult and the security people street the airport were holding them. It was weird as, "You're not the asshole hut, you may need to sit down and tell her what it's like."
Not the asshole. American woman here, and I don't even like putting my phone in my back pocket in stores. I tend to hold onto it the whole time. You're not acting strange at all.
Not the asshole. I'm white, with a white so, in a predominantly white country, and I tell her often to please not stuff things into her purse, backpack while we're inside a shop, and always keep your receipt handy. You'd think it was common sense. I can only imagine how my blood pressure would be in these situations if I were in danger of being racially profiled. Keep telling her to use some common sense, bro.
It is not strange at all. I would sit and have a chat with her and explain why you feel this way and give her examples of the racial profiling you experienced so that she can understand why you feel the way you do. It's okay to be brought up in different cultures, however, if you have explained all this and she still dismiss your feelings and not wanting to carry her stuff, then you need to think hard over if this is the right person for you. Besides, she can also carry her own stuff. She can bring a bag if she feels that she always has too much stuff with her when she goes shopping. I don't mind carry other people's stuff for a bit, but not if they do it out of habit or entitlement.
Not the asshole. I understand your concerns, fears. Can you wait until she calms down and explain it to her? Unfortunately, white people don't understand because we never had to think about things like that. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying education helps. Also, it shouldn't be your job to educate her, but if you are comfortable with explaining, please do. Otherwise she just won't get it. P.S. And you aren't a pack mule. She should carry her own stuff.
Not the asshole. It doesn't matter where this happened or why. If you're not comfortable carrying her stuff for whatever reason, she should respect that. If it's about Rossi's CM, she might not be aware of it. Although it's obviously not your job to educate and explain it to her, it would definitely help your relationship if you did. She probably isn't aware of her white privilege. I wasn't. If she'd like to learn more, I can definitely recommend Me and White Supremacy, by Layla F. Saad.
You for assuming everybody is racist, her for using you like a hat rack.
Nah. You need to sit her down and explain where you're coming from. Explain the problems you face and how it can be interpreted.
Not the asshole. First, you should be able to tell your significant other when they do something that you aren't a fan of, "Hey, I don't want to carry your stuff, please start bringing a bag." More importantly, you are telling your significant other that this action makes you uncomfortable because of racism, and if you two are going to work out, she can't get mad when you point out to her how being a POC impacts you and makes you act in certain ways to stay safe. If she flips out over you talking about this, just wait until you try to explain to her why calling the cops is a bad idea.
Not the asshole. And while I don't want to minimize your experiences, I don't think you need to be POC to get that shoving shit in a backpack in a store is a bad idea. I'm a white chick and I wouldn't do that. So I don't think her being white is an excuse. Is she usually this dense with social rules? Not the asshole. It's pretty selfish for her to just assume you should carry her things at all, but when you add in her being so dismissive of any feeling you have, and refusing to believe in racial profiling because she doesn't experience it, it paints a picture of someone who's immature, selfish, entitled, and thoughtless in general. So many stores here won't even let you carry a large bag around, and she wants you to start stuffing things in yours. And she has an attitude about it. She needs to grow up.
Nah, I think she might be naive. I certainly was when reading this. Being careful like that is just something I have never had to think about. It's terrible that you do. Did you explain why you didn't want her handing you things? If you did, then not the asshole. I don't think strange for someone to hand their clothes to the person with a backpack to look after. I think people calling her out just for giving you things are a bit extreme. If I'm with a guy with a bag, I might give them things to put in it. If they don't, they might want me to put things in my bag. I think that's perfectly normal.
Not the asshole. Your girlfriend is having you do things that in your native country could get you arrested, or worse. and from what I've read in the comments is super ignorant of how the world really works. Personally I would dump her, but you're not me.
Not the asshole. Heck, I even tell my 6-year-old not to try to get in my bag at stores because I don't want to get accused of theft. Especially when my husband is with us. It's bullshit. I'm telling you, every time he goes with me to the store, especially the Target, we get followed by employees. I completely understand how you feel and your girlfriend should too. No assholes here asking to put something in your bag or to hold something while their shopping isn't out of order. Also, shops have cameras that will pick up your girlfriend taking off a scarf and handing it to you, and if not, someone who works there will recognize that it's not their stock. However, the worry of being profiled and racists may cause you unnecessary hassle, and even if you're let go, it's hassle you wouldn't have needed to go through. There's no harm in pointing out that this isn't her fault and she's not doing anything wrong, but that other people may be an issue. Also, no harm in her bringing her own bag.
Not the asshole. Especially with your concerns about being profiled. Minus the racial stuff, I would probably say take the hit and help your girlfriend when she's clothes shopping, but you make a good point about that having some bad optics in your situation. Either way, you aren't the asshole. It's perfectly natural to not want to be your so's manservant, but if she's a shopaholic and the trip is basically for her benefit, it might be worth treating her. I don't know, maybe if these stores have baskets or carts or something, you might want to make a point of picking one up.
Not the asshole. It's an unspoken rule in our household, husband and I, that we don't take more than we can carry. It's annoying and a pain in the ass to have to deal with other people's items.
Not the asshole. I never put anything in my backpack while in a store. I have a job in retail and yes, it looks like possible theft, no matter what your color.
One way to stop it from happening would be to stop taking a backpack with you. You are afraid of racial profiling etc., but then you go and take a backpack into an expensive store. So sorry to say, but you are not helping yourself in that regard either. I am not excusing what she does. She should look after her own stuff. Not the asshole. You need to explain the reason why when she calms down. The anxiety we as POC have about this is valid and based in objective fact about profiling. You shouldn't have to cater to racists, but it's better to be careful and not stopped, arrested than to disregard reality because people shouldn't be dicks. Not the asshole. But only because of your reason. As someone in a relationship, my boyfriend and I very often give each other things to hold onto for the other, whichever one of us has a bag with them. But I understand that because of the location and the fear you've grown up with of someone in a place of privilege stereotyping and accusing you of stealing, that this situation is different. As a person in a place of privilege, she should try to understand why this would make you uncomfortable and respect why you say no.
Nah. Are you saying that people will think you're stealing something when she asks you to put it in your backpack? I think that's a genuine concern, but I can also see where she wouldn't understand it since it's unlikely she's been profiled like that before. Have you tried explaining that aspect of things? If you have and she ignores it or thinks you're overreacting, then yes, she's an asshole. On the other hand, if you just don't want to carry her stuff, that's your right, but I think it's also just a nice gesture. Women have been carrying their families' crap around in their purses for ages, and a backpack especially seems like a good place to store something she'd otherwise have to carry in her hands.
Nah, honestly, carrying shit for your girlfriend is par course. Kinda comes with the territory of being a boyfriend. But I understand your reasoning and you should explain that to her. Just telling her it looks bad is a strange reaction if you don't consider your specific reasoning. To her she's probably like, it looks bad for you to carry my stuff and be helpful to your girlfriend. That's probably why she was miffed. I would tell her exactly what you told us. Tell her what you were raised to do because of racial profiling and that you aren't comfortable stuffing her clothing into your backpack in a clothing store. That should make perfect sense to her.
To them you are the asshole. How old are you, by the way? Didn't you learn a long time ago not to go shopping with women? Lol. I did. It is best avoided. Leave it to her and her friends to avoid problems.
For a white blonde woman her behavior isn't strange. Also, when she's from NZ Europe, she is most likely not accustomed to racial profiling like it's done in the US. And also she is not accustomed to police forces who shot first and ask questions later or are overly violent when dealing with a thief. So her not understanding your behavior would be Normal, although with what's been going on in the US for the last weeks she should know by now, that she is risking an police incident with her behavior. You should definitely sit down and talk with her and make her aware what her behavior might cause to you. Not the asshole.
Absolutely not the asshole. I'm painfully white, my boyfriend is native, and I can't imagine just brushing it off if he said something like this. I don't live his experience of the world, so as far as I'm concerned, he's the "this is okay for me, this isn't okay for me" when it comes to anything race-related in our relationship. She should be making the effort to at least be aware of and think, oh wait, there's the chance this will negatively impact him, we shouldn't do this. I brought up to my boyfriend how we may want to adjust travel plans because they involved driving through a city that had race protests going on. And then I left the decision of what he was comfortable with up to him. Because let's face it, the short white woman has a much better chance of getting out of a cop stop without issue than a tall, Native American man.
From European point of view, this post is completely nuts. I absolutely understand Op's girlfriend. Carrying your girlfriend's things is a usual courtesy, but one isn't obliged to extend it. However, other part is fucking nuts. Being accused, suspected of stealing for using your own bags for your own things in the shop is fucking mental. Being endangered for being profiled for carrying your GF's things is unthinkable. POC or not. USA is nuts.
Not the asshole. I was confused at first, but it made total sense when you explained about profiling.
Not the asshole. Even as a very white woman, I feel uncomfortable stuffing things in my bag while being in a store, but at least the cops won't assault or shoot me for it.
IDK. My fiancé asks to put things in my purse, and if I don't have it with me he puts my stuff in his pockets. This would be solved if we could just get some damn lockets, LMAO. I do understand why Op feels that way though.
NTA. But I would sit down, explain why you feel the way you do, your upbringing and how you were raised. The things you were taught. I'm assuming you are POC. So I can understand why you are worried.
Not the asshole. And #X200B. I mean, I'm white, so I have a limited knowledge of this. But yeah, especially in the US, people with dark features are profiled a lot more than I assume white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. I can totally see where people who have that mindset might raise some eyebrows to you pocketing a handful of items, even if your girlfriend handed them to you, off herself. And how you would want to avoid that like the plague.
Not the asshole. I am melanin challenged while my husband is far from that. When we were dating he always asked if he could pay. He told me he knew I had a good job and that was really amazing, and my independence was one of the things that attracted him to me, but that because of his complexion a lot of people assume he doesn't have money. We live in a fairly melanin challenged community, so I trusted him on his experiences and agreed. Let's be honest, like I'm gonna argue with a gorgeous, fun, intelligent person wanting to buy me food. At the end of the night the waiter brought me the check and wished me a great evening, completely ignoring my husband. We have been married well over a decade and now it has just become a game between us trying to guess who will be given the check and such. Please talk to your girlfriend. Your experiences and fears have validation. She obviously hasn't had to live with that, but if she cares about you she needs to understand your concerns.
Not the asshole. At first I was gonna be like, you are the asshole, because it's just carrying small items, and then I read that last part and completely understood your point. Try talking to her about it. Being blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, it's not something she's probably had to consider or think about in her lifetime. It's not that I don't want to hold your stuff. I don't want to get accused of stealing of a scarf we already own and that situation possibly escalating.